People, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, and I hope you're all doing well and safe this Sunday, whoever you are, wherever you are. Now, in relation to Aubameyang, we know every other day he's going to a new team. You know, the latest I've seen is Manchester United, which on one hand I want to say it's nonsense, but in football you never know how things work. It could be something that develops. I don't know that. That's my opinion. 1 minute he's going to Inter Milan, then he's not. And the latest is that they said he's too old. I should have his comments, but Rivaldo has said Aubameyang will be perfect for Barcelona, and he's also said they should sell Dembele. I mean, you know, come give us Dembele, take Aubameyang. Away from that fantasy, you know yourselves, different clubs every different day of the week for Aubameyang. Whether he stays or goes is neither isn't for today's neither here nor there. I personally think he's gone. I hope that's not the case. Berbatov has had something to say now. Completely different position, but very similar in that obviously it's funny, but on a serious note, you know, he came from Germany to Spurs. He's definitely one of the best Spurs players I've seen in recent years. I could sit here and wax lyrical about Berbatov. We all know his first touch was a joke. He was a good goal scorer. He was an elegant footballer, really and truly, man. And obviously he wasn't, you know, you look at him, you look at Cantona, you look at Ozil, you look at Zidane, you look at my man, and there's many other players that you could say is poetry in motion. For me, Berbatov was that he was very elegant with a football. He's had something to say in relation to Aubameyang's future, and now it's important to remember before I started blabbing on that. Obviously, Berbatov had a tough decision to make himself in that he left Spurs and joined rivals in Manchester United. Obviously, because Man United at the time, no doubt, were the best team in England, had a strong team, and obviously there's the opportunity to win trophies, which he was backed up in his decision to move. Obviously 30 million is not the biggest of fees, but back then that was big money spent. I mean, I remember, you know, Shevchenko went for 30 off to Chelsea. That was big money a few years ago. Now it's not. He's had something to say in relation to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and he said leaving Arsenal for Barcelona or Real Madrid could backfire. And before I get into his comments, it makes a lot of sense, because on one hand, I think regardless of if he quote unquote flops or has a success at either club, I don't think he can't not take the chance, because you don't want to. He's 30 something now. You don't want to look back at 40 and think, should I have taken that last opportunity? If it doesn't work out, okay, it is what it is. If it works out, you know, great. But, you know, I believe in taking that opportunity. And, you know, it might not come again. There might be one last opportunity to earn that chance to be part of a team where, you know, even if you don't win anything, to play for Barcelona and Madrid is a career highlight in itself. Obviously, trophies, whether any capacity, 9 times out of 10, if you're involved in that squad, you're going to win a league or something. For Aubameyang, he probably has 2 years or so. Now, obviously, he could go there. He could not be. He could win trophies. He could not be a regular. He could just be one of the many players. And to a degree, you know, I'm sure Aubameyang doesn't want that. But on the other hand, I'm sure he'll consider it's a stronger team. It's a more competitive side. And one thing I'd say in Aubameyang's case, if he's prepared to play on the flanks, you could actually make a case for him playing in that front line at Barcelona and or Real Madrid, because he gives them a good option. He could be a good short-term option for both teams, as you know, because you'd imagine Mbappe, Haaland, even potentially Neymar, and all these other, excluding Neymar, all these other wonder kids, a couple of them will arrive to the two clubs in the next couple of years, in which Aubameyang could be surplus to requirements. They might not want to give him the wage outlay, but depending on how you look at it, there is cause to not do it and there's cause to do it. But Berbatov, the man himself in question, has said, you have to ask Aubameyang if he is happy at Arsenal, and if he isn't, I can understand why. Football is about winning trophies, and we all know that Arsenal are a team that play attractive football. We once was Berbatov, but in the end, they have been left empty-handed quite a lot of times. That can be frustrating for a player. And of course, I would say, even away, obviously, trophies is a big thing. At the end of the day, he's had opportunities to win trophies at Arsenal. He was part of the team that bottled it in the Europa League. I'm not saying, obviously, Aubameyang should have scored that chance, but we had many opportunities to kill that tie over both legs against Olympiacos. So I'm not blaming him for that. My point is, collectively, everybody bottled. We got beat up against Chelsea. Obviously, you know, we haven't done too well in the cups, in the domestic cups, but there has been opportunities. Obviously, they're not major trophies. I will say as well, on top of that, the carrot of which, even Lacazette as well, one reason I would want to keep it moving is the carrot of why these lot came to this team is probably not there anymore. Of course, Aubameyang and Lacazette, more so Aubameyang because he's in this question, listen to what Arsenal had to say, or specifically what Wenger had to say. You know, they of course, Aubameyang's not exactly French, but he's of French descent. He spent a long time in France. You know, he knows about Henry and all these guys. Lacazette the same. You know, our French connection with players, even to this day with Saliba, it was a big reason for him to come in here. But when you look past that and you get down to business, the big carrot was Champions League football, returning to the Champions League, being part of trying to help this team go back to the pinnacle of club football. Champions League was the minimum. You know, we want to be up there with the league champions and things. We can't do it, but you get the point, and neither has happened. We've regressed. We're not shown that we're a Champions League team. We've got worse, and he hasn't got time for that. So we're going two different ways as a football club. He's also went on to say, also, the overall performance of the team can bother you sometimes. Oba is a striker, so goals will be important for him. The way he plays, how he plays, and how he feels, the only person who can tell you that is him. And that's true. What I'd say is Aubameyang, you know, even if he is sulking, sorry for himself, has down tools, he's a great professional, because I'm not seeing none of that in how he's playing. He'll play up front, he'll play on the wing, you get the vibe. Even when he had to hold up the bench under Emre, he will do this. You know, he's a different sort of captain. He's not gonna be like typical English captains that we've seen in the Prem, shouting and bollocking, but he screams to me someone that when something needs to be said, he will say it, and he's a good professional. And that's even more reason for me, if I was Aubameyang, to want to move, because I'd say, listen, I'm 30 years of age, I'm scoring all my goals, I'm playing on the flanks, I'm tracking back, I'm doing all of this, and all the players have the same commitment as me. Have they got the same ability as me? Why am I doing this here when I can go and play left wing or something, if not up front for Barca or Madrid or something? And you know, why do that here? And for him, he's got to ask himself, does he see it getting better? Because even if he does believe in Arteta, believe in whatever, he needs to ask himself, does he think he can achieve what he can achieve here in the next few years? Now, if Aubameyang is happy here and is comfortable in London, comfortable feeling important, because he's not going to be as important at Madrid or Barca. Not that I think he cares about that or should care about that, but I think it points to him leaving, people. And you can't argue with anything Berbatov is saying right now, people. He said, the way of life... Sorry, people. Apologies. He said, before the lockdown, he was showing great spirit and playing for the team. I think he does like it at Arsenal. And of course, being a footballer in London is great. So maybe he will stay. The way of life, the way football is conducted, his teammates and his life, his family have in London are all things that could make him stay. Of course, you know, he's got to think about stability. I think if he was to get a free, maybe a 4-year deal, I'd look to, realistically, club should be trying to give him 2 with an option of a 3. I think his agent should be going for a 3-year deal, maybe 3 with an option of a 4th. If he gets something like that with a decent wage, you know, he's got his financial future sorted, his family are settled, and he'd feel good at Arsenal, fair play. But if it's purely from a sporting perspective and we don't consider many external stuff and factors, then there's no reason for Aubameyang to stay at Arsenal, if we're 100% honest. From purely footballing reasons, there's no reason for a man that scores however many goals he scores and has scored for this club, and you know, he's a top class player, one of the best in the league, that undoubtedly one of our best in the team. Not many teams he doesn't get into based on his ability and what he does. You know, there's no reason to stay here. He is a Champions League caliber player. You know, on the surface, I know he's enjoyed playing at Arsenal, but what screams he's made the right choice with leaving Dortmund for Arsenal? What screams it? Like, what screams it? Is it undoubtedly obvious? Because Dortmund are still playing in Champions League. Fair enough, they might not be doing major bits, but they're earning plaudits. Do you get it? What thingy is there? It don't make sense. So we have to hold our L. From a sporting perspective, there's no reason to stay at Arsenal. From external factors, there obviously is. He said, Barca and Madrid are the favourites to sign him, and as a player in that situation before, your head is going to spin. He's obviously relating to his personal experience. Oba needs to calculate his options to see if he's going to benefit and be happy moving to these type of teams. From his perspective, either of them is a good move, because they are 2 of the best teams in the world. But then you have to look at their lineups, which includes Messi, Suarez, Griezmann, Dembele, Fati, Benzema, Bale and Hazard. And I would say on that it is true, but you know, I'm sure Aubameyang realises he's a competitor. If you're going to these teams, you have to compete. And if you look at it, some of the micro factors, Griezmann's had teething issues at Barcelona. I'm not saying he's not better than Aubameyang, but he's had teething issues. There's even rumours of selling him. The same goes for Dembele, even though I think Dembele is a starter. And you know, even if Dembele was to be joined at Barca by Aubameyang, that could be good for him, people, really. Fatty's a young player. Let's not place too much expectation on his shoulders. Suarez is getting on a bit. Messi is Lionel Messi. Hazard will play. Benzema, he will play. Bale, obviously, there's talk. I know he signed a new deal, but there's talk of selling him. And yeah, man, there's a lot of competition. But I think if you look at the micro, it is feasible to see him getting games. He also said, would Aubameyang play much in either of those sides? He's not getting any younger. He needs to be at a club where he's going to play. And at Arsenal, he's the captain. But the biggest factor in all this is winning trophies. And I can't disagree with anything Berbatov has said. Moving away from that, though, and actually, people, Guillaume Balaguer, who was talking on AFTV, shout out to AFTV and the United Stand. They're doing a little fundraising 24-hour thing for charity and stuff. And I think Balaguer had a little segment on it. And he said that Aubameyang was open to leaving, or was open to the idea of leaving Arsenal in January. He told, allegedly, AFTV, when Barcelona were looking for a striker and they eventually got Braithwaite, which, they signed him, they approached Timo Werner, Rodrigo of Valencia, who they always seem to go for, and Aubameyang. And they had a yes from the players under the condition that the deal could take place between the clubs. Arsenal said, no way, we're not open to selling Aubameyang. So again, Oba was open, but it seemed a case of, everybody was open to it, but you have to agree something with Arsenal. So by that logic, if that's true and believing that at face value, he's got to keep it moving, people, really and truly. He was linked with United, and I saw Charlie Nicholas, speaking about, if we was offered money for Aubameyang, should we take it? The fee was 100 million. I know Manchester United have done some crazy transfers, but they'd have to be idiotic to even bid 50 million for Aubameyang, because he was arguably could go for half this summer, whether people believe it or not. Contracted until 2021. Arsenal cannot ask for 70 million because teams will say, all right, you know what? We'll wait till he's a free transfer. Or even Aubameyang might dig his heels in because he might think, I'm not getting any younger. Say I stay and I'm not in form, or I have injuries, or they think I'm too old for this. There's other projects in which Aubameyang might have to force a move. So we have really no cards in our hands with this. So we're hoping really to break even on Aubameyang, get that 50 odd million back, which again isn't the worst because we broke even considering what he's given us as a club. Obviously, we know we should be trying to get a little profit on that, but it is what it is in that regards. If he was to join Manchester United, I guess let me humour it. I don't think he's going to join Man United. Anything can happen, but I guess there are reasons for United. I guess away from, they probably should target someone younger. Like if you're going to go after him, you might as well try and go after these younger strikers. But for Aubameyang, obviously he's a shirt seller, which Man United would love. A short-term option United is going to take to get United back to how they really want to be. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. So if you've got a striker that's scoring 20 league goals minimum in your squad for a couple of years, because Aubameyang's 30 odd, I'm sure United would do that. I'm sure Aubameyang would be open to listening, whether he goes or not. I'm sure he'd open to listening to what United have to say. It's Manchester United, biggest team in England. Obviously, there's a former teammate in Jadon Sancho probably going there. You've got Martial, Rashford, Pogba allegedly signed a new deal. Bruno Fernandes. The chance to be, try help them go back to being blockbusters and stuff. And he would obviously fit in the side well. I think people underrate how much he can fit into a side because of his, at least what we're seeing is how he performs out wide. That can give them an option, but I don't think the United one is going to happen really. I think many teams would take Aubameyang for a couple of years that he's got left, but I just don't. I can't really see it happening. Obviously, the financial benefits joining United would be great for Aubameyang, and if they're in the Champions League, of course, that's the thing he wants to return to, people. In relation to Aubameyang as well, it's completely irrelevant, but he spoke about the number 14 shirt. He said, I like two numbers, number 9 and 7, but Lacazette and Mkhitaryan had 9 and 7. I asked Mickey before I came, will you be taking number 7? And he said yes. So I said, okay, I'll try something else. He left, but I scored a lot of goals with this number 14. So I'll leave it like this. And to be fair, there was other players that have disrespected the number 14 shirt, in my opinion, at this football club that wanted to be wingers and strikers, and Aubameyang's put some respect back on it. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens, man, because his future is consistently going to be up in air. Like I said, he's been linked with United. Balaguer's spoken about him. Berbatov has spoken about him. Rivaldo has said he should come to Barcelona. So it's a bit mad, really, and it's going to ramble on. And to be fair, I think the club, again, I don't know this, but just based on what you read, it seems that the club are, contract talks are done. We're going to sell my man now. It's like we've given up now. So it's going to be an interesting summer, and I don't think we're going to get all our business done, but we'll have to see. On that note, it's always a pleasure speaking with you guys. People, Deluded, I'm out.